Okay, it is time for my review of Avengers Infinity War. And this will be a spoiler review. I might not touch on everything. I'm going to talk about the movie, but I'm not going to hold back what I say. I saw the movie Thursday night on the 26th, and I was going to do my spoiler review then when I came home, but I was out with my nephew. We still talking about the movie and stuff, and I was like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll wait till Sunday because people getting the movie spoiled for them. I think today's a good day to do it. There were spoiler reviews out Thursday when I was going to make mine, but whatever. It's just time. I had like 2 days to think about this movie, and I'm like, let me do it today. But anyway, yes, this movie was incredible. It was fantastic. It gave me a lot of what I expected. Now, I'm not talking surprises, but the feel and the tone of the movie. It really did. It went to some dark places, and I don't think a lot of people understand it's going to get that dark, but I'm also a fan of the comic. I remember the day my old best friend showed me Infinity Gauntlet. I remember that. And he was like, you didn't hear about the war? At this time, Infinity War was out. I was like, nah, what war? And he showed me the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's when I came to know who Thanos was and all about the gems, the Infinity Gems. Gems. I like saying gems. It's stones in the movies, but sometimes you might hear me saying gems. But I remember flipping through there and watching just how he took people out. Like Thanos was merciless, and he was having fun. He could have just took them all out quick and easy with any one of the gems, but he was having fun displaying each power on all these. It was X-Men, like Wolverine. There was Captain America and some Avengers members. There was Thor. There was Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange. It was so many different people. Spider-Man. Everybody trying to take Thanos on. He took him out. And we'll come back to Thanos later. But the movie, I expected it to be and feel like the third act of a movie. Like it was a 2 hour and 20-minute third act of a movie. That's what it kind of felt like. Or I heard somebody say on YouTube it was like a season finale to a series. And that's exactly how it felt. Like if you got a 2 hour long season finale, that's how this felt. And I expected that. So I didn't expect to get any really deep character development for any one of the characters in here. You had over 20 something major characters from the MCU. You're not going to get enough time with everybody for a 2.5 hour movie. You're not. It could be 3 hours. You're just not going to get a lot of deep character development. So I didn't expect that. I expected everybody to be teaming up, going on, trying to stop Thanos and coming up with a plan. This movie moves at a very fast pace. Not too fast. I think it's just good enough because it was edited very well. It didn't feel like, man, what the heck is going on? It's choppy and it's jumping around. It doesn't make sense why I went from this scene to that. All of it makes sense. It really does, especially at moments where there's things happening on different planets at the same time. It all made sense. You never felt like there was too big of a time jump and they jumped back to a time where they shouldn't have went from that in first place or something. It was edited well and it was everything I expected. But I like movies that move at a fast pace. A lot of people said there's a lot going on in these movies, so it might be a little bit too much for people to take in. I don't know if it would have felt like it was too much. There's a lot going on. And if you're not a fan or you didn't watch at least several of these MCU movies, you're going to get lost at times. You don't have to see every single one. If you've seen both of the Avengers movies and maybe even Civil War, you're going to get a lot of this movie. It's going to make a lot of sense to you. But yeah, it was what I expected after, like they say, waiting 10 years. Really? Infinity War, we were waiting 6 years. And that was hinted in the movie. Somebody said it. Tony said that when he was like, this is the guy I've been thinking about for 6 years, ever since the Battle of New York. Because, I mean, nobody knew they was going to do Infinity War, at least not the general public, until we saw Thanos at the end of that end credits in Avengers. So that was 6 years ago. But this has been a 10-year cinematic universe. So 10 years to this point, nobody's going to be celebrating, oh, it's been 11 years in Avengers 4, because 10's a nice even number, I guess. You know what I mean? But it just, everything fits so well, and we had enough time with most of these characters to when you see them and they're interacting with other characters, especially characters they've never been around before. The team mixing, I love that too. It was just so cool to see. But you don't get the feeling you got the first time we saw Avengers, or at least I didn't. Even when they mix characters together that were meeting for the first time, I mean, I've seen stuff like that before already in Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Civil War. It was different characters that were meeting like for the first time, or you got to see new characters come in, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and then the Guardians meeting Thor in this movie, and Spider-Man meeting Doctor Strange meeting Tony Stark. It's phenomenal. A lot of these people, this movie was great. And I think it was handled the best that it could be. So we need to give props to the Russo brothers, Kevin Feige, everybody else that worked on these movies in whatever role they did. Everybody did great with this movie, and I like the fast pace. So it never left me bored. There was never moments where I'm sitting back, I'm yawning, I'm like, all right, get on to the next moment. You know what I mean? I never felt that. I like movies like this. Like, I like movies that have a lot going on. I really do, because it keeps me from being bored. I can always keep up, so movies that have a lot going on never feel like it's too much for me. But I'm going to speak about Thanos now. Like I said, Thanos, Josh Brolin did his thing. You could see a lot of Josh Brolin, no matter how much of it was CGI, because I know he did some motion capture for Thanos, but at the same time, you could see him in Thanos' face, Josh Brolin's performance, and his voice is great for Thanos, and he has a great voice anyway. But you got to give it up to Josh Brolin, because Thanos in this, although he's a bad guy, he's clearly a bad guy. You know what I mean? He's an antagonist, and the thing about that is, this Thanos was a lot different than Thanos I know from the comics. I remember reading Infinity Gauntlet, and I'm just like, this dude is playing around with him, he's having fun, he's smiling, he's doing all these different things. But this Thanos, everything he was doing was kind of like, I have this purpose to fulfill. In the comics, Death came to Thanos in the form of a female, and he just was in love, like, oh my gosh. So he was trying to please Death by causing as much destruction as possible. Forget it, in Infinity War movie, it was like killing off half the population of the universe. So going to each planet, killing off half of them. No, not in the comics. It was like Earth, destroy it. You know, the whole universe, destroy it, take it over. He was trying to court Death. I heard some people use that, term before. But yeah, he was trying to court Death. He was trying to please Death, and he didn't care about anything, just pleasing Death. And it was crazy because he enjoyed what he was doing. But in this movie, Thanos had a mission or a quest that he believed was the right thing to do, and it changed him up. And I think that works better in a film, because in films we expect a lot more than we do from comics. But even in comics, they're doing that with certain characters now. You know, even if they want to rule the world or have supreme power or all the power in the universe, they have goals they're trying to meet instead of, I guess moral goals, because Thanos in this movie, he's talking about how people at his planet thought he was crazy for what he was doing. But he's like, no, we have to do this. This is how you end too many people, a high population, overpopulation, and you end poverty on planets or people losing resources. But, you know, he was kind of cool. I don't want to say he was cool, because what he was doing does seem wrong, but it depends on your perspective, to be honest with you. But he had mercy for certain people. Just him picking up Gamora, you see that relationship in this, which was great. I think it was great. Even at moments where, she was crying because she realized about Thanos, and Thanos was showing how he actually does care for her. I thought it came across great. But Thanos was a lot different than he was from the comics, but I do like this version of Thanos. I still am a sucker for those classic villains that just like, hey, I'm trying to cause as much destruction as possible. And even in the comics, Thanos was trying to please Death. He was in love with Death. So was Deadpool. Death plays around, don't Death come to people as a female, making them fall in love with him? Smart trick. But anyway, that's the thing. He was a little bit different than the comics. A lot, actually. He was a lot. But he was merciless. Oh my gosh, the beginning. That fight with Hulk. When that happened, I sat forward in my seat, and Hulk was just wailing on him. And I think it was Ebony Maw that said, let him have his fun. And Thanos just started displaying why he is superior. His strength could probably match the Hulk. But the thing is, fighting ability. Thanos was a warrior all his life. Hulk is more of a brawler, and a brawler sometimes don't have strategies to what they do. They just get down and dirty. And Hulk's probably trained. He's probably trained. He probably picked up some lessons from Captain America. Everybody does, in the comics and in these movie universe. But Thanos was just a superior, skillful fighter. So that he just showed Hulk a thing or two. But I would have to say the secrets and depths in this. There's a lot of secrets. There's people that come. Red Skull was definitely a surprise. I was like, oh my gosh, Red Skull. Now, this is a spoiler discussion. Found out at the end credits that's not Hugo Weaving, and I was kind of upset because it sounded like his voice, the guy was trying to emulate his voice, his accent. He did okay for the most part, but I was like, is that Hugo Weaving? Looks like they use, some computer effects instead of putting actual makeup on or whatever. But it would have been nice to know Hugo came back as Red Skull, but Red Skull went somewhere. I'm glad they stuck to that, because everybody was like, you think we see Red Skull? Some people I know were saying that because, again, in the MCU, not just in this movie. And I'm glad they did that, because the Space Stone teleported him somewhere. And he was there on that planet when he's looking for the Soul Stone. I thought that was cool just to throw him in there for that. He was somebody who'd been around, you don't know how long, because in different parts of the galaxy, time goes by differently. But the deaths in this, like when Thanos finally gets to the point where he's just like, you know what that means. It was like you didn't know who was going to go. And he said it when he was explaining stuff to Tony Stark at random. He chose, to kill people off at random. That's the only fair way to do it. What do you want to favor this person because they're poor, or this person because they're rich, or of status, or they're more useful than another person? He said do it at random. And that's what it did with the Gauntlet when he started killing people off. That mass killing on Earth, actually the whole universe. Yeah, and it could, because you had Tony, some of the Guardians, Strange and Peter, Spider-Man on Titan, on Thanos' planet, because that's where they were fighting him. It was a lot to take in, man. And at that moment, I'll tell you, the moment that got me and a lot of people in that theater, a lot of the kids and women almost lost it when Groot was dying. Like Groot again, and at this time, teenage Groot. He's not baby Groot no more. And I think if he was baby Groot, it would have made even more impact. Like, what? Oh my gosh! But I think T'Challa, when he came around, it's just the way they edited it. It happened so quick. Like, he just came around and he was like, Okoye, come on. There's no place to die. And then he starts deteriorating. And it was like, they're going to get rid of Black Panther, so he's at least not going to be in the beginning of the next Avengers film. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. That hit me. I was like, dang, they got rid of Panther. As soon as that happened, I looked to my nephew and I was like, Peter's gonna go. Spider-Man's going. He was like, how'd you know? I'm like, I think if I was one of the writers, I would do it too. It's going to hit Tony hard. And sure enough, when Parker started to go, and it's the way he did when he said, I'm feeling funny. And you saw Tony say something like, what'd he say? He was like, oh, you're okay, kid. He tried to, give him some bedtime manner or something like that, whatever they call it. He was like, oh, you'll be okay. But I think Tony knew he's going. And he said, I don't want to go. And it just hits you here. And Tony's holding on to him. And he already felt responsible for him. He told him not to get on that spaceship to go back down to Earth. And he's just like, oh, gosh, kid, you're like, oh, man, what the hell? And everybody was speculating who's going to die. Cap, Tony, two of the leads, I would have to say, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even Thor. I think Thor's going to go. I think a lot of us saw Loki going. Mainly because we didn't see him in any other shots in the trailers. But the trailers don't go by the trailers. They did nothing. I love when they do that. The trailers twist you. Some people feel robbed of what the trailers show. Hold on. Not too much. They might not have shown you certain scenes, but that happens in almost every trailer, even besides superhero movies. But what the trailers did was, they didn't show you everybody who's going to be in every place that the trailers highlighted. You know what I mean? And they saved that for some shock value and surprises. So it's not like they robbed us. It's not like in the trailer showed Captain America dying and then he doesn't die. You know what I mean? That would be robbing you of it. But at the same time, if you already know, who cares if it gets changed later? You already knew how you felt doing before. It doesn't make any sense. But besides the deaths at the end, I think the part of the movie, I enjoyed the whole movie. When Cap first shows up, people went off in that movie theater. They start clapping, and then the Avengers theme played in. You had Cap, Falcon, and Widow all fighting. Midnight and her husband, and it was just crazy because here they going with no special powers. They got abilities, but no special powers. And Falcon got his wings and stuff, and they taught them a lesson. They're just that darn good. They seasoned, they trained all their life for it, and it was crazy. It was fantastic to see. That battle on Wakanda was outrageous. Like when the whole line start running towards this part of the shield they let open, and it was just, first it was everybody running together. Then Cap and T'Challa's running faster than everybody. And then T'Challa just ran a little bit faster than Cap, just a little bit faster than him. That was off the hook. It was like they're faster than all of them because they have the enhanced abilities. But my favorite moment of that whole movie, the part that just hit me and gave me goosebumps because I enjoyed the whole movie, was when Thor showed up in Wakanda. I cannot get that. I can't wait to go see this again because that is my favorite part. It was, and I knew it was going to happen. I had a feeling. I'm like, where's he going? Is he going to Titan or is he going to Wakanda? Because we didn't see what happens with Thor near the end of the movie. We don't know which planet he ends up with. He's not going to stay away from the fight. I didn't believe he was. And in the comics, I'm going to speak about Thor in the comics too, during the Infinity Gauntlet comic. But when the hammer had to be formed and Groot made the handle out of his arm, Thor was reaching for it. Then you see the Bifrost transport beam come down. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yes. I said yes so loud in that theater. And then the hammer comes out, Stormbreaker, and it starts taking people out. And he's like, bring me Thanos. I got goosebumps. And they are really displaying Thor. You know how there's a term that people use sometimes? They say they nerf certain characters or they depower them. They're not as strong as they are in the comics. Thor, at least with the last couple of movies, I always felt like they kind of had him down packed, but the last two movies, Ragnarok and Infinity War, Thor's Thor from the comics, man. He's just as strong, just as powerful, because he did his thing. And I liked how he basically beat Thanos. He didn't stop Thanos from reaching his goal, well, with destroying half the universe, but he beat the heck out of Thanos. And Thor was just displayed so, he was flying through those ships. He was so powerful in this. I can't wait to see that scene again. Rocket, I'm a big Bucky fan. Not too much of him. Not too much from Falcon. War Machine, that was a little bit here and there. It was cool. But you don't get a lot from every character. You know, they had to focus on certain characters that were more central to the story than others. Like Vision. We got enough time with Vision, I believe, because Vision has one of the Infinity Stones stuck in his forehead. This movie was great. I've talked on for like 15 minutes now almost. And I don't want to talk too much more, but I'm just going to say I think this movie hit a lot of the notes that it was supposed to hit. It delivered to us. It's not my favorite MCU movie. It really is, because Avengers still is. It really is probably still my favorite superhero movie. And I have this, you know, not just for nostalgia reasons, I just like how it all came together. And it's the first time we've seen all these different standalone movies come together for one movie like that, especially superhero genre. But I just can't get Avengers out there. Avengers is still my number one. Where does this rank? I might have this movie above Civil War. Civil War was great. But the same thing with Civil War. Seeing all those characters come together, I didn't feel the same way I felt when I first seen it in Avengers. But it's going to be hard to top that. But I don't know where this movie ranks. I don't. I gotta think about it some more. I gotta see it a couple more times. I've seen all the other movies tons of times, man. But it is great. I'm glad. I'm thoroughly pleased with what I got. I loved all the surprises. I loved the things they did. Guardians of the Galaxy, when they met Thor, when they were interacting with other people like Strange and Tony, I loved all that. Rocket and Groot out there with Bucky, T'Challa, and Cap. Thanos. This is very much Thanos' movie. They spend a lot of time with Thanos, and they needed to. And a lot of people are saying he's probably one of the best villains in the MCU, or period, just in superhero movies, period. I have to agree. There are a lot of great villains that was displayed. Shoot, Jack Nicholson Joker from '89 Batman was great. But Thanos was fantastic. I really enjoyed him. But overall, I love this movie. It was great. I don't have too many complaints. If I have one complaint about this movie, I would have to say, geez, I mean, no, everything I expected. The time with certain characters, I knew we weren't going to get a lot of time with all the characters, so I expected it. So I really don't have any complaints with this movie. I mean, it could have been made better in some ways, yeah, sure. Almost all movies could. But you see the movies, you be like, nope, no complaints at all, and it was perfect. This one, I'm not sure. I got to see it a couple more times. But I really don't have any complaints with this movie. I was thoroughly pleased. I'm trying to think now. I think I had an issue with the movie. I had one issue with the movie. I can't remember what that was. I really can't. I mean, some people are going to say some stuff like, when Thanos had the Power Stone already, they didn't show him when he went to Xandar. I mean, that's the Nova Corps there. Does Nova exist? Did Nova come? Or all the Novas? Did they fight Thanos? Did he sneak in there and get it? How did he get the Power Stone? Maybe that. Like, they didn't show him get the Power Stone. He showed him getting every other stone, but not the Power Stone. They should have showed that. I don't know. I really don't know. It would have been nice to see it, but I'm not mad they didn't show it. Everything doesn't have to be explained down to the T. We're not going to get that. I mean, you're not going to get every single thing explained thoroughly. There's always things you can say, well, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you just use the Reality Stone to give enough resources to the whole galaxy to where everybody can just, I don't know. But regardless of that, I enjoyed this movie thoroughly. What is this? Okay. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly, and it was fantastic. I recommend, if you didn't see this and you watched, this movie and you watched my spoiler review, why'd you do that to yourself? But I recommend everybody see it more than once, because your feelings might change on a second viewing or whatever. I love this movie. It's probably in my top 5 Marvel movies. It is. Or superhero movies. It might be in my top 5, but it is not number 1. That doesn't mean it was bad, because number 2 wasn't bad, and it's not my number 1 superhero movie. It's just that Avengers holds a special place in my heart, and I think it was constructed at a time where we never seen anything like this. We kind of expected it, especially with Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Civil War. You had to expect. I mean, if you were shocked about seeing all these characters together, that's great, because I would have loved to felt that on a higher scale. But I didn't. I just knew I was in for that. It was more so the surprises this movie had. Cannot wait for Avengers 4, because this movie sets up for you to be excited to see how things are going to be resolved in Avengers 4. Cannot wait for it. Russo's did great. Can't wait for 4. And if you haven't seen those on-set photos of Avengers 4, if you don't want it spoiled for you, don't see it. But if you've seen it, you kind of get a feeling where this is going. It's I don't want to spoil that, but just Google on-set photos Avengers 4, and you're gonna see them. And you're gonna, if you didn't see them when you see these pictures, you're gonna be like, wow, because that's what I said when I saw them, and I saw it months ago, and I was just like, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but what they're doing with that, cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see it. But anyway, that's my review. It's not perfect. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is one of my longest videos. I talked for a long time. Sorry if I went on too much. But yeah, that's it. Great movie. Can't stop talking about it. Can't stop thinking about it. Can't wait to see it again. See you next time.